The Blue Front Cafe in Bentonia became an international tourist attraction back in the 1970s. And I'm serious, people from all over the world are in here all of the time. So you need to make this one of your destinations when you do your blues tour of Mississippi, as well as this next location.
Delta and Bohemian are probably as oxymoronic as they are redundant, but we more or less started it to celebrate the diversity and the constancy in the Mississippi Delta. And we really wanted locals to realize that, you know, people come here from all over the world. They find this place and us fascinating. We're a story of characters. I started managing the Clark House and writing for the local paper at the same time. And had been managing the Clark House about 8 years. And I started connecting with tourists here, and they would come in there like, man, okay, we've got live blues now 365 days a year and at least one venue every night. And I'd tell them about Cathead. I'd tell them about our 2 blues museums, art gallery or 2. So kind of out of connecting with guests that came here that really wanted to understand more of what informed the blues, I just started giving tours, and it kind of just bloomed out of that into a viable business. I usually start at the Clark House here, which is the oldest building in town, give a little history of John Clark, the founding of Clarksdale, go through, this is known as the Historic or Tennessee Williams District, and I give a little background on Tennessee Williams and his time here. All right, we've just left the Clark House and we're heading next door to the Cutrera Mansion. John Clark's daughter, Blanche Cutrera, built this home with her husband, Jack Cutrera. They had lavish parties here. They had 5 house servants, a governess, a French chef, an Italian gardener. They were noted for having masked balls and parties, and W.C. Handy played in this home with a 9-piece orchestra. Just a grand home. Tennessee Williams had said that Blanche Cutrera was the only grand dame he ever knew. And it's rumored that Belle Reve, the ancestral home of Blanche Dubois and Streetcar Named Desire, was based on this home. We have a Tennessee Williams Festival here every October in the middle of the month. And they have porch plays on several of these big homes here that are all still single-family dwellings. And they'll have little vignettes of Tennessee Williams plays on the porch and put chairs out in the yard. Tennessee Williams' grandfather was a rector here for 16 years at the Episcopal Church that's still in use. Tennessee Williams, I believe, lived here from about 1917 to 1921 when he was a young boy. And here is a little bit of an evidence of a bit of the Renaissance you see going on in Clarksdale. It's so easy to come to Clarksdale or really any Delta town and look around and say, man, there's so many vacant buildings, is it dying? But right on this stretch, you've got the Hooker Hotel, the Squeeze Box, and Delta Digs, all 3 really cool overnight places to stay. Anyway, a man from Franklin, Tennessee owns them. The Hooker Hotel is just named for his favorite musician, John Lee Hooker, but of course, that caused a stink in the Bible Belt a little bit. And then on the right over here is the Rock and Blues Museum, and that's owned by a man named Theo Dasbach from the Netherlands, and it's his collection of blues as it segues into rock and roll. Next door is Hambone Gallery. Stan Street, I think, is originally from New York. He's got an art gallery in here, fantastic painter. He plays harmonica and drums all over the world, and this is where we have live music on Tuesday night. For a town of, you know, under 17,000 people in the birthplace of the blues, is that every night of the year we've got live music in at least one venue.
Thank you. What's up, Marilyn?
Hey, y'all.
Delta here is pretty much the main drag. And I usually take folks in Roger Stoley's on most of my tours, and it just let them get a feel for a really cool, eclectic blues and folk art store. I'm assuming y'all been in Ground Zero before. And then the most iconic, coolest blues club in America right here on the corner, Red's Lounge. Red's a good friend of mine, and like I always tell folks on tours, tell Red you're a friend of Billy's and he'll promise not to cut you as deeply. And we're pretty sure it's stick. And then a seriously iconic spot's up here in the bend of the road on the right. It's the Riverside Hotel. It was an African-American hospital until 1944 when it turned into a hotel, mostly for itinerant bluesmen. Several famous bluesmen lived in here: Sonny Boy Williamson, Robert Nighthawk, Ike Turner. JFK Jr. stayed here in the early 90s. Bessie Smith, considered the Empress of the Blues, had a car wreck outside of Clarksdale in 1937. They brought her here to the hospital. She died in here in an upstairs room, and they've kept the room the same as when it opened or when she died. One of the greatest assets we've got in Clarksdale is on the left up here. It's Quapaw Canoe Company. And John Rusky owns it. He's originally from Colorado. They make all their handmade stripper canoes here that they take out on the big river. And he gives anywhere from half-a-day trips up to very long trips on the Mississippi River. The whole area was built on cotton. I mean, Comer County supposedly had more cotton grown per capita than any county in the continental United States back in the day. And the levee's up here on the left. We're fixing to jump up on it. And the levee is built primarily pre-mechanization with wheelbarrows, shovels. They had dredges on the riverside. It's an incredible feat. It's mostly all soil. It doesn't have riffraff or anything underneath. But you can see this is a great road. And I mean, this runs from St. Louis to Baton Rouge, longer than the Great Wall of China. We're blessed here to have people from all over the world coming in on a daily basis, and how neat to be able, anybody in any one region, it's so easy to become insular or myopic, but to have folks from all over the world come to this place, fascinated by it for whatever reason, and to be able to see ourselves through their lens is incredible.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you see, subscribe to Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Till next time, I'll be seeing you on Mississippi Roads.